Hello and welcome to Wineskins, a program featuring reflections on the lives of the saints and the sacred scriptures, along with a variety of topics and issues from a Catholic perspective. I'm your host, Father Jim Corda. Our show is sponsored by the annual Bishop's Appeal, the Catholic Communication Campaign, and St. Paul's Catholic Books and Gifts, a division of the Society of St. Paul. On our show today, I will interview Rick Kravenka about the Retreat Center in Parma, Ohio. We will also hear more about the life of St. Philip Neri and the readings for this feast of the Most Holy Trinity. That and more on Wineskins. To share some pertinent topic with us on lay ministry is Pete Schaefer.
The Office of Lay Ministry Formation has had a busy year this year. Last month, we just completed the Foundations in Ministry program. We had 45 people from over 20 parishes in the diocese at 3 different sites. This group of people gathered together over 6 months in prayer, in learning, in reflection, and in discernment on how they can better use their gifts and talents to serve the people of God. This month, we recently finished up 2 specialized ministry courses. Here we had almost 40 people from 15 different parishes. In Canton, the course was Leadership in the Church Today, where we took a closer look at how the church is structured and how the laity can get more involved in the ministry of the church and especially in leadership roles. In Youngstown, in Ashtabula, the course was Ministry in the Midst of Messiness. This course is a scripture-based course where participants learned more about 5 specific books of the Bible and learned what these books can teach us about ministry in our lives today. How might God be calling you? What gifts have you been given by God that you can use to serve others? This fall, this Foundations program will begin once again. Mid-September, we'll gather together once again at 3 different sites to begin another round of formation. Might you be called to come and join with us in prayer, in learning, and in discernment? Also, the Lay Ministry Formation Office will be rolling out 2 new programs. The first is specifically for the Year of Mercy and is entitled Ministry to the Marginalized. In October, this course will begin as we take a look at the tradition of care for the marginalized throughout the Old Testament and also Jesus' option for the poor and marginalized within the Gospels. We'll also take a look at how the early church made it their mission to care for those that were on the margins of society, and how that tradition has been carried forth in the church to today through the corporal and spiritual works of mercy. Finally, the course will take a look at the modern marginalized, those populations that are on the fringes of society, such as the sick and elderly, those in prison, immigrants, those with mental illness and disabilities, the divorced, and other family issues. And in all these sessions, we'll get a better sense of where people are coming from, how to meet them where they're at with mercy, and how to better show them the love of God that we're called to do. The second course that will be new for this fall is a course on social justice with a service component. In this course, participants will be asked to serve with a social justice agency and then come together on a monthly basis to reflect on their service and to learn more about the social justice teachings of the Church. This course will also begin in October. In addition to these formation opportunities, the Office of Lay Ministry Formation also provides support for Parish Pastoral Council. This includes in-services at the parish level, help with prayer at Parish Pastoral Council, and visioning what Pastoral Council is all about. The office also provides training and information on alternative forms of parish leadership as the diocese looks to ways that our parishes can remain open and vibrant even with the reality of fewer priests. For more information on any of these programs, or for specific start dates for them, please contact me. The phone number is 330-744-8451, extension 289. You can also reach me through email at pschaefer, that's PSCHAFER, at youngstowndiocese.org, or there's more information on our website at www.doy.org. Then click on the Diocesan Offices tab, and then click on Lay Ministry. Thank you very much. Have a great day. For Wineskins, I'm Pete Schaefer.
The Feast of St. Philip Neri is celebrated on Thursday. To tell us more about this priest is Carol Geiss. She is from St. Christine Church in Youngstown.
Born in Florence, Italy, into a family of modest income, Philip frequented the Dominican Church of St. Mark. Later he became acquainted with the Benedictine spirituality. He was ordained to the priesthood in 1551 at the age of 36. Through his apostolate in the confessional and his spiritual conferences, he attracted a group of followers who ultimately formed the Congregation of the Oratory. In 1575, St. Philip received a papal approval for the Congregation of the Oratory, and the Pope gave him the Church of St. Mary, Vallicella, for its headquarters. In 1578, Philip began the construction of a new church, and to this day the Romans call it Chiesa Nuova. In the last years of his life, between 75 and 80, St. Philip concentrated on the ministry of the confessional and spiritual conferences. He died in Rome with a reputation for cheerful goodness and optimism. The three prayers of the Mass describe very well the spiritual traits of St. Philip Neri, who deliberately cultivated some eccentricities in order not to fall victim to the admiration of the people. He also declined all ecclesiastical honors. In the opening prayer, we ask God to raise up your faithful to the glory of holiness, to kindle in us the fire of the Holy Spirit, who so filled the heart of Philip Neri. His insistence on chastity based on humility and lived in joy was prompted by the ardor with which his heart was inflamed by the Holy Spirit. The motto of his congregation is Solo Caritas, love alone. The prayer after communion invites us to imitate St. Philip Neri by hungering after this sacrament in which we find true life. The discovery of authentic values can provide a truly fascinating vision of holiness, whereby one can experience the Christian joy of living. Few can resist the unbounded confidence and optimism of St. Philip Neri. The Office of Readings contains an excerpt from the treatise of St. Augustine, because there is none available from the pen of Philip Neri. He burned all his writings before he died. St. Augustine refers to the joy of being in Christ, and this helps us understand better a saying of St. Philip Neri: a servant of God ought always be happy. The spirituality of St. Philip Neri is relevant and available to all. It is beautifully summarized in the words of St. Augustine: wherever you are on earth, however long you remain on earth, the Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything. Consequently, the duties and involvements in the affairs of this life need never be an obstacle to the love and service of God. For Wineskins, I'm Carol Geiss.
Joining me again for Wineskins is Rick Kravenka, who is the Executive Director of the Jesuit Retreat House in Parma, Ohio. And Rick, it's a pleasure to have you back on Wineskins.
Thanks so much.
You know, today we'd like to focus more on the Jesuit Retreat House in Parma. What do they offer? What are some of the programs they provide to the community? You know, in this day and age, are retreats still relevant? You know, I remember as a young priest 37 years ago that retreats were kind of the thing to do, but it just kind of lost its impetus and its appeal. What are you doing at the Retreat House in Parma to kind of bring that back to the fore?
Well, I think it's a very exciting time for us, and one of the images that really stands out in my life, it goes back to something I heard back in 1980 at a conference in Chicago, and the image is we live our lives forward, but we understand our lives backward. And so there are some things we'll never more deeply see, appreciate. There's experiences of happiness and meaning and gratitude we'll never have unless we stop and take time for deeper reflection. And certainly that's a part of everyday life. One of the great gifts of Ignatian spirituality is the daily examen. but it's also a part of deeper reflection over a more extended time. One of the things I like to hold up to people that even we have silent retreats during the summer. They could be a weekend, they could be 8 days, they could be up to 30 days, which is the full experience of the spiritual exercises. And silence is an incredible gift to oneself. Sometimes people wonder, they don't know if they could do it. And I remember I have 4 young adult children, and when I was making my first 8-day retreat 2 years ago, they were wondering, is Dad ever going to make it? And I remember from the first seconds loving that time of just silence to reflect like I never had before. And I think that's a wonderful gift we offer to people, especially in a time, in a world that's ever more busy and noisy and cluttered.
Exactly. And I think we tend to not be good listeners. You know, in this world and in this day and age, we're always about communicating and talking and chatting and doing so many things that tend to clutter our lives instead of kind of cleaning our lives out.
Right.
Is that gift of listening in silence peculiar to Ignatian spirituality?
My sense is it's certainly part of other traditions that maybe I don't know as well, so I don't know how fully, I could comment on that. But one of the images that I wanted to hold up, going back to your first question, is a little bit of the remarkable beginning of our place. We are now in our 118th year. We go back to 1898. And we actually began on our site as a Jesuit novitiate, but there was a very progressive leader of the novitiate. His name was Father van Rossum. And he decided in that opening year he would provide retreats for lay people. And that simply wasn't done in 1898. So as the story goes, he invited 14 men for a retreat, and 3 weeks later, only 2 showed up. And some of the other Jesuits said, well, maybe we should cancel it, but he didn't. He went ahead with that retreat. And in that moment, we became the first, and we are now the longest continuing place in the United States providing retreats for the laity. So there's just a remarkable legacy of retreats. And even when other places had opened in other parts of the country, we had already done hundreds of retreats. But I also like to tell that story because sometimes when people convene a meeting or a gathering, if not everyone shows up, they think of canceling it. And I always like to say, believe in who's ever there. And let the grace of God happen in that moment. And he certainly did. And we have this incredible tradition now.
Oftentimes when we think of retreat houses, we think of Catholics going there. Do you have people of other faiths that go to experience retreat and quiet and just listening?
Yes, we do. And I so appreciate you asking that question, because one of my beliefs is I see us as a portal of God's love for people across the spectrum. If we think of the real meaning of evangelization, on one hand, we have retreats for people who are deeply Catholic, who want to go more deeply into their Catholic faith, for people who might be a little more marginal, for people of other Christian traditions, and people of other spiritual journeys. And I think more and more when people are seeking God and seeking a sense of purpose, that we're there to welcome them wherever they are. And we're very intentional about offering different types of retreats and programs that might meet people along different places of the spiritual spectrum. So we can, again, bring them more deeply into an encounter of God's love in their life.
And when people come to the facility, what can they expect? What's the facility like? What's it all about? And what are some of the things that they can experience?
Well, we have a remarkably central location in terms of the greater Cleveland area. We're just off 480, so if you're coming from the Youngstown area, wherever, when you get to 480, you go down 3/4 of a mile, and there we are. We have a beautiful 57-acre wooded site. It's both woods and wetlands. And what people always will comment on is the drive-in, because we have a winding road. So all of a sudden, you leave the hustle and bustle of the freeway and the surrounding neighborhood, and you're going down this winding road and just moved by the serenity of the site. And because we are 57 acres, we have trails and shrines, different places for people to pray. And given our connection with the Jesuit world, we even have a cemetery at the back part of the site where over 100 Jesuits are buried. So we're a very sacred place in the Jesuit story. And then we have accommodations for up to 57 people. I always tell people in a kind of comical way, we're kind of like Heinz. We have 57 acres and 57 rooms. And again, people can make retreats on their own. They could attend our programs. There's a number of choices. We work with people to do what will best serve their spiritual needs.
Now, if someone is interested in coming to the retreat house or center, what's the best way to contact you?
Probably the simplest way is simply to go to our website, Jesuit Retreat House of Cleveland, and information would be readily available. By doing that, you can also find our phone number. And we're just happy to talk about doing things not only for individuals but for groups. We have groups who come from different faith settings and nonprofit settings, and we're happy to help them create the retreat that will best serve them, or if someone wants to come for a day or learn more about our programs. Also, I want to point out we have a remarkable presence in the AA community. We were part of AA with Sister Ignatia, worked with Bill and Dr. Bob. She realized that one of the best things that could be offered for people going through recovery were retreats. So from the very beginnings of AA, we were offering retreats, and so we have a number of AA retreats. We have a large number of retreats for youth and young people. We have a new one on retirement, building a vision for retirement, because for many people, they don't realize that could be a third of your life. And it's important to have a vision that will make that a truly life-giving time. And then we have seasonal retreats, depending, in May we will have retreats focused on Mary, and in June on the Sacred Heart. And this year, we're trying to really engage with Pope Francis' Year of Mercy. So we have a theme through all of our retreats on how do we bring more of God's mercy into our lives and into our world.
Rick, we have just about 2 minutes left of our time together. And as you look forward to perhaps another 118 years celebrating the Retreat House in Parma, what would be your hopes for the center, but also your challenges for those who come?
Sure. I think in the broadest sense that we will be a portal of God's love, that wherever people might be on a spiritual journey, we are here for you, to help you to know and encounter God's love. In a more specific way, this is a very exciting time because this spring we are breaking ground for a vision and dream that has been with us literally since the turn of the century, and that is to build a new wing as well as to renovate our existing buildings so that we can better serve more people. So it's just a very exciting time in what we want to offer people, and in fact more people that we would be able to serve.
And please give us again, how can people contact you, either a phone number or website?
Sure. Well, our phone number is 440-884-9300, and we'd be happy to talk to you about whatever interest you might have around a retreat or program as an individual or as a group. And we also have our website. If people simply search for Jesuit Retreat House of Cleveland, they'll get a very visual expression of all that we have to offer.
Well, Rick Kravenka, thank you again for being with us on Wineskins, and lots of best wishes at the Retreat House. We know that what you provide there is a blessing and a benefit, and we wish those people who participate lots of God's blessings there. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm so grateful. Thank you very much.
For Wineskins, I'm Father Jim Corda. To receive more information on that and other issues, and to listen to Wineskins, visit the website of the Catholic Diocese of Youngstown at www.doy.org. Stay with us. We'll be back in a moment.
They say America is a land of opportunity.
But for some of us, it's not so easy.
Today, 1 out of every 6 children in America lives in poverty.
Where every day is hard.
And there's never enough.
But we don't want a handout. We want a way out.
This is America.
Together, we can do so much.
Will you help?
Nearly 13 million children live in poverty. Make a difference. Go to povertyusa.org and get involved. A message from the Catholic Campaign for Human Development.
Church World Service believes that being self-reliant is a joy everyone should share. So around the block or around the world, share the joy.
Our song today is by John Michael Talbot. It is from their CD entitled Table of Plenty.
I, the Lord of sea and sky, I have heard my people cry, all who dwell in dark and sin, my hand will save. I who made the stars of night, I will make their darkness bright. Who will bear my light to them? Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go I, the Lord of wind and flame, I will tend the poor and lame. I will set a feast for them. My hand will save. Finest bread I will provide, till their hearts be satisfied. I will give my life to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I will hold your people in my heart.
Our scripture reflections for this feast of the Most Holy Trinity will be by Father Bernard Timothy. He is from St. Dominic Church in Youngstown.
Today we celebrate the mystery of the Holy Trinity. One God, three distinct persons. This is the mystery that makes us Christians. Think about how we become Christians. Priest or the minister says, I baptize you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. The Trinity. We were baptized in the Trinity. The mystery of the Holy Trinity is the central mystery of the Christian faith and life. It is the mystery of God Himself, of who He is. Therefore, this mystery is the source of all the other mysteries in our faith. It is the most fundamental and essential teachings of our faith. Believe this mystery, and you are a Christian. Not believe, you're not a Christian. The Church tells us that the Holy Trinity is a mystery. What that means is that our knowledge of the Trinity does not come from natural reason. It's not something that we come up with ourselves. It is something that has been given to us, something that has been revealed to us by God Himself. Left on our own, we would not have arrived at this knowledge. One God and three persons. This is how the Church understands the Trinity. It seems simple enough from our perspective now, but it did take about 300 years for the Church to come out with this understanding, come out with the formula of the profession of faith that we say every week. To believe in this revelation was simple enough for the early Christians. Trying to understand the mystery that was revealed was a different matter. We are limited in our intellectual capacity. And so even after this revelation, it is still impossible for us to completely understand this mystery. Ultimately, our understanding of this mystery will always be clouded, partial, which means that the center of our faith will always be a mystery. When we accept this reality, we realize that the fundamental act of a Christian is not so much to understand, but it is to believe. We are Christians because we believe. We believe in the revelation that God is the Trinity. This is why every Sunday at the Creed, we say, I believe, and not I understand. It's faith. It's the Christian faith. What is unique about this revelation of the Trinity is that what is revealed to us is not only something about God or His commandments, what He wants us to do, but it is about God Himself. It's God Himself being revealed. He is revealing to us Himself, His inner self. And we learn how in Him there is this unending interchange of love between the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, communion of love. And through our baptism, we have been adopted into this communion of love. This is why the formula of our baptism is Trinitarian, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. These two things, the self-revelation of God and the adoption into the communion of the Trinity, are at the core of our identity as Christians. They are the reasons why Christianity is unique compared to other religions in the world. Christianity is not us trying to reach up to God, but it is about God who has come down to incorporate us, His creatures, into Himself. Notice that we're not external to Him either. We are made one with Him. Everything that we do as Christians, from our work of trying to understand God, the way of life we live, mercy, kindness, to our charity toward everyone, have their source from this mystery of the Trinity and our adoption into this mystery. So if someone asks you, what makes you a Christian? The answer is, I am a Christian because I believe God is the Holy Trinity, and I share in that Trinitarian life of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit through my baptism. In the solemnity of the Holy Trinity, we remind ourselves of this identity, and we give thanks to God for the revelation of His inner life and for inviting us into that life. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. For Wineskins, I'm Father Bernard Timothy.
God the Father and God the Son and God the Holy Spirit meet us in our sickness and our sinfulness, in our joys and in our hopes. God blesses and strengthens us in our love for each other and for the world entrusted to our care. Let us turn to the Trinity to be our guide and our driving force. Wineskins is made possible by the annual Bishop's Appeal, the Catholic Communication Campaign, and St. Paul's Catholic Books and Gifts. The program is produced by CTNY, the Catholic Telecommunications Network of Youngstown. I'm your host, Father Jim Corda, wishing you a blessed Sunday and a safe week.